You know, this spring has been a challenge for the state's fruit growers. There were 2 late frosts in April that farmers had to deal with. And thanks to one farmer's ingenuity and the Tennessee Department of Agriculture's Coronavirus Agricultural and Forestry Business Fund, Gwin Orchard in Middle Tennessee was able to save his peaches with giant frost blankets.
You can see the little seeds starting in there, and it's still in good shape.
It's a miserable feeling to lay in bed at night and watch the thermometer just keep going down and realize there's nothing you can do about it. So I got to thinking there's got to be something I can do to cover up this crop and provide some protection. I started researching what's done in other areas and found some things that they're using to cover citrus crops, not for frost protection, but for insects. And I started looking at ways that I could modify that approach and use frost protection fabric that would provide some insulation to the crop.
This project here at Gwin Orchard is a result of the CAFB fund, which is part of the CARES Act funding from 2020. And these are frost covers over almost 2 acres of peach trees. And it's an example of an entire crop that's been saved. There's no telling what his loss would have been if he had not had these frost covers. It's also an example of how farmers are so creative, because Jacob has taken equipment and materials that were designed maybe for a different variety of fruit and adapted it to peaches. And it's a great example of agriculture in Tennessee rising to the challenges.
So in the springtime, you always see folks in front of their houses putting out bed sheets and covering up their flowers, and this is the same approach. The only difference is I've got really big bed sheets. They're 36 feet wide and about 230 feet long. And so this machine rolls that up in such a way that you can take the fabric and a boom extends it 20 feet up in the air. And then from there, we have someone on either side of the rows walking down and pulling the fabric down to the ground as it unwinds from that high position on the boom. It got below freezing. It got down to 29 degrees, but that's still above the threshold for where there could be damage. But it kept the temperature up just enough that we didn't have any damage. And in these type of events, it may be even half a degree that you need to keep from being damaged.
Well, the Coronavirus Agricultural and Forestry Business Fund helped producers like Jacob Gwin and many others to the tune of more than $55 million this past year.